George McGee was driving his Tesla in autopilot down a narrow 2-lane road. His life and the lives of 2 other people were about to be shattered. The question is, was autopilot responsible for what happened? The other 2 people were Nabil Benavidez and her boyfriend Dylan Angulo. They had legally parked their Chevy Tahoe at the dead end of Cardsound Road, where it intersects County Road 905 in Key Largo, Florida. They, like George McGee, had no idea what was about to happen. Here's an image of the intersection. It's out in the middle of nowhere. As you can see, Cardsound Road has only 1 lane of travel in each direction and has no lighting, especially at night. But there's a stop sign and a yellow barricade sign telling a driver it must stop and then turn left or turn right. There's also a flashing red light signal overhead to warn oncoming drivers of the danger of the dead end. Nabil and Dylan thought their Tahoe was safely parked behind the yellow signs that tell oncoming drivers to turn left and right. Certainly they were legally allowed to park there, and the yellow signs blocking the dead end created an illusion of safety. It was just before 9 p.m. It was dark outside. Nabil and Dylan got out of their Tahoe and they began to talk next to their truck. They could never imagine anything that was about to happen. There was no sound coming from the Tesla driving autonomously in autopilot as it barreled towards them at 62 miles an hour. As everyone knows, Tesla doesn't make an engine sound. George McGee had put the Tesla in autopilot, and he was traveling while talking to his wife. He was not using the hands-free features on the phone that come standard with the car. McGee would later testify at trial. "I trusted the technology too much. I believed that if the car saw something in front of it, it would provide a warning and it would apply the brakes." As McGee approached the intersection with a young couple in front of him, he dropped his phone. He took his eye off the road just for a second as he reached down to the floorboard to get the phone. His foot laid on the accelerator. The Tesla car data later showed that the vehicle recognized the danger in front of it, but it didn't do anything to engage the auto emergency braking system to stop the car. The impact threw Nabil 80 feet into the woods. She died at the intersection. Dylan suffered a fractured jaw, fractured pelvis, and a traumatic brain injury. The case went to trial in Miami, and a jury found both that McGee was negligent and that Tesla's autopilot system was defective. Applying a legal concept called comparative negligence, the jury assigned 67% of the responsibility to McGee and only 33% of the responsibility to Tesla, and awarded Dylan and the family of Nabil $120 million to compensate them for their losses. Based on Tesla's percentage of responsibility, its share of the comparative negligence damages was $42.6 million. The jury also awarded $200 million in punitive damages to punish Tesla for what it concluded was reckless conduct. The idea is to deter Tesla from doing this again. This verdict has polarized the world. Most people have formed their opinions without truly analyzing all of the evidence. Many people feel the verdict was justified against Tesla. Many others feel it's outrageous and that George McGee is 100% responsible for what happened. How can that be? It's because of a psychological concept lawyers use to take advantage of a principle called primacy. Primacy means that when someone has life experience tied to emotion, that makes them believe a certain way. And then they'll continue to believe that way even in the face of contradictory facts, and they'll rarely change their mind. So in this case, for example, people that have very strong opinions that you should take personal responsibility for your actions believe McGee is 100% at fault, and they'll disregard all the facts that suggest that Tesla put a defective autopilot system on the market. People that believe it's 100% Tesla's fault will disregard all the facts that suggest McGee could have avoided the crash. I promise I'll tell you my thoughts and I'll tell you my opinions at the end. But before I do, let's look at the objective facts so you can have an educated opinion all on your own. First, what is autopilot? Tesla offers autopilot as a standard feature on all its cars. However, at the time George McGee purchased his vehicle in early 2019, they offered an enhanced version for an additional $5,000. Today, that enhanced version is more akin to what Tesla calls full self-driving. Even that's a misnomer because the car can't drive itself without a person involved. The enhanced features for autopilot at the time had self-navigation, automatically staying in its lane, changing lanes, staying the same speed, automatically steering, slowing down, and speeding up based on the traffic in front of it. But it does require the driver to keep their hands on the wheel. If the person takes their hands off the wheel, it first gives an audible visual display warning with no sound. After a while, it makes an audible alert. Only after all this happens does it begin to gradually slow the vehicle. Teslas also have an automatic emergency braking system that, according to industry standards, should override any acceleration and stop the vehicle in the face of danger in front of it, even when the driver is pushing down on the accelerator and even when autopilot is engaged. McGee's vehicle did not engage the automatic emergency braking system. So what are the facts the jury relied on to hold Tesla 33% responsible? Reason number one, the crash data downloaded from the Tesla shows that with 100% certainty, the car recognized the danger in front of it, but it did not automatically engage the braking as was promised. Here's the crash again. Imagine as you're watching this that you're behind the steering wheel, that the car's internal system is recognizing the car is about to run off the road. It's recognizing the flashing red danger warning signs overhead. It's recognizing the stop sign, and it's recognizing the yellow barricade sign that says only turn left and right. Finally, imagine the automatic emergency braking system does not override the vehicle, even though the accelerator's pushed. Reason number two, the crash data was uploaded to Tesla's servers immediately after the crash and was on the car's computer system. But Tesla told law enforcement it didn't have the data on its servers and that the car data was corrupted. The family's lawyers hired a hacker, and that hacker was able to prove Tesla's servers actually had the data and that the car data wasn't corrupted either. The judge allowed the family lawyers to present evidence to the jury as part of the punitive damage case that seemed to prove Tesla was lying about the data and was lying to try and cover it up. Reason number three, according to the attorneys at trial, Tesla was aware that human nature is to ignore warnings and that people were actually ignoring the written warnings to keep their hands on the wheel. In fact, attorneys presented evidence that Tesla's own investigations revealed that autopilot was to blame 6% of all Tesla crashes. Here's an actual video of people letting the Tesla drive while they're asleep at the wheel. Notice that none of the car's safety features are stopping the car. I mean, how could Tesla put this technology on the road knowing that without the safety features? Reason number four, knowing this, other manufacturers have a camera inside facing the driver that sets off an audible alert when the driver's eyes leave the road. Tesla chose not to use this safety feature. The autopilot system was only really capable of functioning properly on large, well-traveled highways, not small, dark, two-lane roads like the one in this case. Other manufacturers use a technology called geofencing to prevent their autonomous features from being used on unsafe roads like the one McGee was driving on. Tesla chose not to have this safety feature. Reason 5. Elon Musk himself routinely publicly overstated Tesla's ability to auto-drive. Here's some examples of his statements. Here's a clip of him saying Model S and Model X can drive with greater autonomy than a person.
Like a Model S and Model X at this point can drive autonomously with greater safety than a person right now.
Here's a clip of him saying that Teslas can go from California to New York without touching the controls.
Essentially, November or December of this year, we should be able to go from, all the way from a parking lot in California to a parking lot in New York, no controls touched at any point during the entire journey.
Here's a clip of him appearing to falsely claim Teslas are full self-driving.
If you buy a car that does not have the hardware necessary for full self-driving, it is like buying a horse. And the only car that has the hardware necessary for full self-driving is a Tesla. Like, people should really think about their purchase. Any other vehicle. It's basically crazy to buy any other car than a Tesla.
Here's a clip of him saying geofencing is not real self-driving.
Hello.
If you need a geofenced area, you don't have real self-driving.
Finally, reason number 6. Other manufacturers call their systems cruise control. Tesla, knowing everything I just said, chose to call their system autopilot. The name implies that the car is going to pilot itself automatically. At the trial, the plaintiff's lawyers had Mary Cummings, a professor at George Mason University and former senior advisor to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, testify. She told jurors Tesla's corporate messaging promotes the abuse and misuse of the technology, arguing the system gives drivers a false sense of security. Even George McGee testified that he thought the vehicle's autopilot was going to protect him from his own mistakes. So what are my opinions? Well, I think you can already tell. I believe the jury was justified in their verdict. I mean, I own a Tesla. I love the vehicle. I think it's one of the greatest technological advances ever built. I think it's the way of the future. And I think it not only saves energy, but it has the potential to save many lives. But facts are facts, and I can't overlook them. Enhanced autopilot, or today what they call full self-driving, it's not ready for mass production without more safety features. I'm a sophisticated consumer. As a personal injury trial lawyer, my life experiences let me see things that a certain portion of the population doesn't ever see. It's my job to analyze why do bad things happen. This perspective often lets me see danger in my life well before everyone around me. Just ask my wife, it drives her crazy. Don't get me wrong, I take risks, but they're educated risks. I see them coming and I prepare for them. And I don't take risks with other people's lives, and neither should Tesla. I didn't buy the full self-driving add-on feature, and I don't engage autopilot. I don't think the technology is ready, and I don't trust it. I worry that if I use those features, I could cause harm to other people. I think Tesla knows its technology is not ready, and they're putting it out on the road anyway, encouraging people to use it. So when mistakes happen, they can use the data to train their system to get better. Basically, they're using all of us as guinea pigs, and when random people are hit and killed, it's just the cost of doing business. I think that's wrong, and I think the jury was justified in awarding punishment damages for what I believe is reckless conduct. You see, in the aircraft industry, airplane capability is tested in simulators. They don't put people in airplanes and fly them in the air and test out whether the technology is ready before it's perfected. The auto industry uses simulators too, but Tesla's moving to real-world testing too soon with untrained test drivers and a lack of some of the safety features that industry believes are necessary to protect innocent people. There's only one real reason for Tesla to move this fast, and there's no legitimate reason not to have the safety features that other manufacturers have. So why is Tesla experimenting on all of us with autopilot? Using simulators to get data is a very slow process. There's only so many simulator drivers out there. By putting the technology in all the cars, the data is generated exponentially faster. There's a race going on between all the manufacturers, and if Tesla can win, they get the lion's share of the money. I'm sure that Elon Musk has noble interests in mind. I believe he truly wants to perfect the technology because he believes the technology has the ability to create a cleaner environment and to drive much safer than humans. I take him at his word when he says he wants to move as fast as possible, in part to save human lives. But moving faster cannot be at the expense of innocent people like Nabil and Dylan. Hopefully, the punishment damages will do their job and deter Tesla from continued conduct that a jury concluded was reckless. Now, I get the argument that Mr. McGee needs to take personal responsibility. I actually agree with that argument as well. Remember the concept of primacy we talked about? Well, I'm trained to be as objective as possible. My training tells me two things can be true at the same time. Mr. McGee can be personally responsible for his portion of what happened, and Tesla can be responsible for its portion as well. That's exactly what the jury did in this case when it allocated its percentages of responsibility. 67% of the responsibility went to McGee. That's the overwhelming majority. And Tesla got 33%. Lastly, and most importantly really, many people are very trusting of the technology. There's a reason Tesla chose to call it autopilot. It makes people believe you can put the car on auto and it'll drive itself. I mean, autopilot? Really? It's a great marketing name, but it takes advantage of people's trust. Tesla should be required to use the safety features readily available to protect the other innocent people on the road from those that chose to use autopilot. I leave you with this final thought. We're all members of the same global community. Shouldn't Tesla, a sophisticated member of that community, have to act safely so that innocent members of the community are not harmed? Shouldn't Tesla have to take the same type of personal responsibility for its actions that all of us agree George McGee and any other Tesla driver should take? Whether you agree with me, disagree with me, or I gave you something to think about, I welcome the comments. And if you want more legal analysis, hit the subscribe button.